Hey guys, how's it going? So this is probably one of the latest videos I've ever recorded. It's just after 7 p.m. When I usually have sort of degenerated into the point in the day where my brain is too tired to process much else than either YouTube videos or some sort of a sitcom. I usually don't get much of reading done at this time. However, I drank coffee way too late in the day, so I'm feeling a little energetic, and I did want to make this video because I have plans tomorrow that will probably interfere with my making a video on Friday. And so, next week is Thanksgiving break. I have the whole week off, which isn't the case for all schools, but it is for mine, which is great. I don't really plan to do any actual work. I'm gonna have a long day tomorrow getting a bunch of stuff done before break commences so that I can hopefully just relax and read. What I plan to do is to have my own little mini sort of one-person readathon. Jason over Chapter and Verse and also Jay Shea have done this. I don't know if I'll give it a fancy name other than the Thanksgiving readathon or something, or the Sotola-thon for Lukash Sotola. I don't know. But I wanna read every day of Thanksgiving break, which is 9 days. I want to read somewhere from 100 to 200 pages every single day. So that could be a maximum of 1,800 pages, or a minimum of 900 pages, and it could also be more if I just feel particularly motivated on a particular day. But I want to sort of vlog through the whole thing too. A lot of you have, I know, noticed that I posted a poll on my channel on the community tab that's been unlocked since I got to 1,000 subscribers. A poll asking whether you would like vlogs that are short-ish vlogs that I post like every day that might be, you know, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes, relatively short, at least by my standards, or maybe even shorter than that, I'm not sure. Or if you would rather that I post one really long vlog at the end of the week that's a bunch of video clips that I've recorded throughout the week and edited together. If you haven't voted in that poll yet, then I would encourage you to go do so, because I'm sort of undecided on which I prefer, which is why I asked all of you guys, and I figure, you know, you're the purpose for this channel in a sense, so you should get to decide on something like that. But the vote is very close. It's like 51% to 49%. Currently, I believe it's in favor of daily videos, but again, it's very close, so just 1 or 2 votes could really shift it one way or another. So if you really care, then go vote. Anyway, I wanted to also talk some about the books that I am going to be working on over vacation, and the sort of TBR that I think I might be working from. It's not so much TBR so much as it's a pile of possibilities, to use Cousin's term from Always Doing. I rather like that term because it's a bit more open, and I do emphasize here that I reserve the right to not read any of these and just to read whatever I please, but I like talking about books that I'm currently excited about, and because TBRs for me tend to work best in the short term. You know, if I'm gonna post a TBR video or make a TBR like in my journal or something, it tends to work best if I start reading the books like right away. And I will be in this case. I'll be starting these, you know, I'll be starting, if I read any of these, I'll be starting them, you know, tomorrow or the next day. So hopefully, you know, I will read some of these. But again, it's a pile of possibilities, not a hardcore TBR. But a few of them, and I have to reach off camera, sorry. A few of them are books I've already started that I'm going to be finishing. So the first, and most importantly, is The Battle for God, A History of Fundamentalism by Karen Armstrong. Her history of the rise of religious fundamentalism, which I am buddy reading with Britta Bowler. We are almost 3/4 of the way through. I think we're going to try to finish it by the end of the weekend. Which we're not dead set on, but anyway, this will be one of the first ones that I finish up. And yeah, so these few obviously definitely will be reading. So anyway, the next one that I'm almost halfway through is An Unquiet Mind, a memoir of moods and madness by Kay Redfield Jamison. Her memoir of being an academic while suffering from bipolar disorder, which I'm really enjoying. Just really beautifully written, really intelligent and thoughtful and insightful. So, yeah, looking forward to talking about it a bit more, hopefully, in the vlogs. And then finally is A Brief History of Painting by Roy Bolton, which I am 3/4 of the way through now, and I'm really enjoying. It's really getting me more into reading about art, so that's really exciting. So anyway, you'll be hearing more about those from me. Another book that I have fallen behind on, but I want to catch up on over break is The Divine Comedy. I stopped reading this for over a week now, and I'm about 18 cantos behind, but I have a 9-day vacation, during which I plan to read 2 cantos per day. So, because I'm 18 cantos behind, 2 cantos per day for 9 days, I'll be all caught up. So, I'll be hopefully back on track to finish this by the end of the year. Alright, now we move into books that I'm not currently working on. Many of these may be familiar if you've seen some of my recent haul videos, but 1 or 2 are actually very, very new. So anyway, the first one is, and there's also, in this pile, there's sort of, I wanted to have a good mix of books that would satisfy me, sort of intellectually, that were, sort of, challenging enough that they would be satisfying. And then I wanted to mix those with some other books that are just easier and lighter. And these are all nonfiction, by the way, because it's Nonfiction November. But yeah, so I've mixed in more taxing reads with lighter reads, or at least lighter by my standards, to the extent that anything I read is light. But, you know, books that are more straining cognitively, I suppose, and books that are just on a page-by-page basis easier to digest. Anyway, the first one I have here is Philosophy in the 20th Century by A.J. Ayer, a discussion of many of the major movements in philosophy in the 20th century, which should be interesting. Next is The Civilization of the Renaissance in Italy, history of the Renaissance, and sort of partly in conversation with the sort of philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche, as I understand it, which should be cool. Next one is more on the dense side. This is Discourse on Method and the Meditations by René Descartes, work of philosophy that I've wanted to read for quite some time. Reading Lolita in Tehran by Azar Nafisi, a memoir of her time living in Iran during and after the Islamic Revolution there, which I've wanted to read for a long time, and which I'm really inclined to read at this point because it kind of touches on, I think, some of the same events as are discussed in Karen Armstrong's book. So that might be one that I actually do read. And then Classical Dance, A Ballet Goer's Guide to Technique and Performance by Jane Robbins. So a slim thing. You know, I think it would be cool to learn a little bit more about ballet, so there's that. This is The Ghost in the Machine. The subtitle of this book is The Urge to Self-Destruction, a Psychological and Evolutionary Study of Modern Man's Predicament by Arthur Kessler. And this sounds like it has a lot of psychology in it. There is some philosophy, but a lot of it is psychology. And as I understand it, he starts the book with a kind of critique of the behaviorism of B.F. Skinner, which is an issue that I learned a lot about as an undergrad. So this seems like an interesting book. We have a selection of the works of Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher who I've wanted to read for a long time. Okay, another book that I am sort of in the midst of reading. This is The Ancestor's Tale by Richard Dawkins and Yan Wang. I'm about 80 pages in, and I'm really liking it so far. And it would be really great to finish this one, just because it's a book I wanted to read before the end of this year, and I was just finding it super interesting. But it is kind of a big thing, so we will see. Alright, up next is A Heartbreaking Work of Staggering Genius by Dave Eggers. Another kind of bucket list book that's been on my TBR forever, so that would be cool to get to. these next two sort of stick with the evolution theme from the Ancestor's Tale and from The Origin of Species, which I read earlier this month. This is What Evolution Is by Ernst Mayr. Just all about the intricacies of the theory of evolution. And it's supposed to be very sort of accessible. It's sort of a pop science book, so it should hopefully be a bit of a lighter read. And then this one, which I don't know all that much about, other than the basic idea of what it's about. This is The Death of Adam by John Green. Not that John Green. there's an E at the end of his last name. But this is the subtitle of this book is what is the subtitle of this book? It's hard to find. I think the subtitle is Evolution and Its Impact on Western Thought. Which intrigued me when I saw this at the library sale last week. So yeah, anyway, and again, with the theme of evolution, that would be cool. And then a new book, which I grabbed at the Goodwill the other day. This is Women of Words, A Personal Introduction to 35 Important Writers, edited by Janet Bukovinsky, teacher, and illustrated by Jenny Powell. So, because it's edited, I'm guessing it's kind of a collection of essays, by various authors, but, basically it just introduces you to a lot of, women authors, you know, with the idea of, getting people to read, more female writers. And there's, like, kind of a mix of writers who I have read and liked, some of their works, authors who I have heard of, but haven't read, much or anything by, and authors who I know quite literally nothing about. So we have Mary Wollstonecraft, Jane Austen, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, Willa Cather, Edith Wharton, Kate Chopin, Sarah Orne Jewett, Isaac Dinesen, Marianne Moore, Edith Sitwell, Agatha Christie, Vita Sackville West, Edna St. Vincent Millay, Anais Nin, Simone de Beauvoir, Doris Lessing, Nadine Gordimer, Ursula K. Le Guin, Toni Morrison, Edna O'Brien. So yeah, and what I think might be a good idea, or what I thought of as an idea, is to read this and to try and buy some books by the authors who strike my fancy the most, because it has bugged me for a long time how most of the books I read are by men. And especially, like, white men. I don't know. I think that this might be a good way for me to sort of get more excited about reading some more women authors, and to buy some books by these authors before the end of the year, since next year is a no-buy year. So, anyway, and it's a short thing. I think it'll be relatively easy. You know, it's got, like, pictures and relatively large margins, so that'll be a quick, easy read. Right, and then the last several are all sort of books where I won't be reading the whole thing. If I read from them, I'll just be dipping in and out of. They're collections of essays, or sort of books where they're in chapters, but you can kind of read the chapters in any order you please. You don't have to read the whole thing. So the first one is a book that I just recently acquired as well. This is A Passion for Books, and it has a really long subtitle. A book lover's treasury of stories, essays, humor, lore, and lists on collecting, reading, borrowing, lending, caring for, and appreciating books. This is edited by Harold Rabinowitz and Rob Kaplan. And, so that subtitle leaves nothing to the imagination. So I won't go into telling you what it's about, but it has pieces by Walter Benjamin, who else? Umberto Eco, Susan Sontag, Gustave Flaubert, John Milton, John Mitchell, Harold Rabinowitz, just a John Updike is in here. Anyway, just a collection. Again, it's by various authors. You don't have to read the whole thing, and I it's of obvious interest. And we have The Lives of the Great Composers by Harold Schoenberg. I'm particularly interested in reading about the life of J.S. Bach at the moment, because I'm going to be reading a book about J.S. Bach next year, about his music. Steve Donahue has agreed to send me a book that's going to come out next year called Bach's Musical Universe, and I'm going to hopefully be writing a review of that for Open Letters. And so I want to learn a bit more about Bach's life. But there are some others in here that I might read. The Life of Wagner, for example, or Puccini, just some of my favorite composers. The next one is the Penguin Books of English Verse, which I've been endeavoring to make my way through the entirety of, and which I'm about a third of the way through, so I'm not doing too bad. So I'll chip away at that a bit more. Then another book we've seen before, Emerson's Essays, which I would really love to finish before the end of the year, because I'm like 3/4 of the way through. Anyway. And then lastly, 2 more collections of essays that I just recently hauled. This is The Proper Study of Mankind by Isaiah Berlin. I read one essay out of this book, and I found it very interesting. Kind of dry, but definitely very, very interesting. So I'm interested in reading a bit more Isaiah Berlin. And then finally, but I should say last but not least, we have Due Considerations, Essays and Criticism by John Updike. I also read one essay out of here, which was a review of a biography of Francisco de Goya, whose painting I really like, and I really enjoyed it. So, maybe I will read some of the pieces from this. So anyway, that is my pile of possibilities for my Sotola-thon. Maybe I should just call it that. So, your thoughts are always welcome. I look forward to your comments, and I look forward to this whole experience. I've never made vlogs before, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I will talk to you all in my next video, hopefully in a vlog. So, anyway, bye guys.